I honestly believe that what I'm about to share is maybe one of the most important episodes I have ever released of this show because I think it holds the key to unlocking true profitable growth for your e-commerce business. That might sound overstated. I know people make big promises in videos like this all the time, but I am working with a bunch of 8-figure brands right now, and I'm watching what is propelling them to real growth and real profitability. And over again, it is the thing I'm about to share in this episode. It is all around their product and how they leverage tactics and strategies in service of their product. I'm going to break it down for you right now. But if you started your business because you wanted to build a large or profitable business, even if you're not trying to build a huge business, I believe what I'm about to share is the key unlock for you. And so let's get into it right now. All right, I talk endlessly on this show about tactics. I do that in part because people have an appetite for it. Like, maybe it's audience capture, I don't know, but there's stuff that I know how to do on meta ads that I believe works over and over and that is really crucial, especially meta ads. I talk about Google ads sometimes too, try to talk about creative strategy, talk about other elements of your business and the breakdown of your P&L, which, really gets past tactics and into sort of like business design and strategy around those things. All of those things are really important. And when we're talking about specifically about marketing and meta ads for D2C brands, it's really crucial to get it right. I mean, one thing that frustrates me sometimes is when somebody will say something like, stop talking so much about media buying. That's not the really important thing. The really important thing is, and then they'll say something else. And they'll pit media buying and tactics against something else. There's a really simple reason why I think that's the wrong way to approach things and why I do spend a lot of time talking about tactics and creative. And it's because for the vast majority of brands in D2C that are growing and that are trying to grow and that are spending on meta ads at all, meta ads represents either the number 2 or sometimes even the number 1 largest line item of cost in your business. Sometimes people are spending more on meta ads than they are on their actual product COGS. Okay. But those two are typically vying for the top spots, COGS and meta ads. All right. And so it is simply terrible advice for anybody to come on here and tell you, or to go on the internet anywhere and tell you, tactics don't matter very much. Don't worry about managing the largest cost item on your books with excellence. That's wrong. Yes, manage it with excellence. Go back into my catalog, get everything you can, stop wasting money in places in your business, scale faster with manual bids. Like those things really matter. So what I'm about to say about product should not for 1 second be taken to mean that I care any less about tactics and strategies. In fact, what I think great tactics do really well is they make your business much more efficient in 2 ways. One of them is they reduce cost in your business in places that you just don't need it. This is what I talk about with creative testing strategy a lot and with manual bids. So what I talk about with a creative process that you can run a lot of creative at a pretty low cost. And so that's part of it, right? The efficiency of reducing of costs. I also think about it in terms of the efficiency of reaching a local maximum. And that idea is really helpful. The idea of a local maximum, the idea is that there's some sort of ceiling for your efforts that it's really hard to break through. Now, a lot of people believe their local maximum is lower than it is, and they start kind of chasing all kinds of different things because creative gets difficult or whatever, and they can't break through a ceiling. But I do think the concept of a local maximum is helpful in the notion of, for a lot of brands, they get to some level of growth, some stage of growth, where they just seem to hit a ceiling on meta ads and they can't break through it. And they've tried a lot of things creatively and tactically, and they just can't get through it. And so they actually have to start thinking a little bit differently about that. And that's a really hard thing to assess in any business, to figure out if you're there or not. I think you should be building a great creative process. I think you should be running manual bids. I think those things will really help you to reach that local maximum faster. And maybe you're not at a true local maximum, but hopefully that idea is somewhat clear to you. The notion that like at some point, you're not very likely to get the next largest step forward in your business by just doing a better job with tactics. And that's really the key idea. Tactics are important for taking you to that local maximum, and you want to reach the local maximum. Another way of saying that is tactics take you as far as they can. And it's sort of like great tactics maximize your opportunity within a certain framework, right? If your opportunity is, on a scale of 1 to 100, your opportunity is at 100, right? That's the very top ceiling, okay? 100, whatever, dollars, units, doesn't matter, okay? Just some threshold. Like if 100, that number represents the top of your opportunity, you want to get as close to 100 as possible. You want to max out the opportunity you can within wherever that ceiling actually is, okay? If your ceiling is 60 on that scale of 1 to 100, then you want to get to 60. Okay. So it's really helpful to reach that local maximum. So again, don't hear this at all as a critique of tactics. In fact, I want to come back to tactics in a minute. But what I want to do right now, and by the way, the very most tactically elite, like I mean the top 1% of tactical people can push their local maximums higher than the rest of us. And I'll just tell you, I don't think I'm that. I think there's people, I do hear about like crazy drop shippers out there still who just like are insane funnel masters who can sell anything at massive scale. I mean, I don't really see those accounts. Sometimes I'm skeptical of them. I think they probably exist somewhere. And they're probably not sharing their secrets, or maybe they're a little gray hat. I don't know. But that's just not most of us, and most of us shouldn't try to be that. I just don't think that's the case. That essentially, if you have one super skill in your business and you can do that, great, go for it. But if that's not you, and it certainly isn't me, then I don't think that you should be trying to go that way. And so the path to getting to that level of tactical excellence is probably too involved relative to the cost and too risky. Okay. Most brands don't do that. Again, I'm not even totally sure it's attainable in a lot of businesses. You might have the exact right product and blah, blah, blah. So you want to get to that tactical local maximum as best as you can. Okay. So go back and look at my backlog. There's a lot of episodes to go through those things. And again, I'll come back to that more in a minute. What I want to talk about now though, is 4 examples recently that I have seen with my eyes firsthand in my client load and one outside of my client load that I know for a fact have pushed like between 40 and 100% growth in one business's case, maybe 200% growth. I mean, like massive, giant growth unlocks and profitable growth unlocks. Okay. So I'm going to break those down right now to talk through what I think are what has created like huge stair-step growth for brands. I'm working with, brands that started all, in fact, every client of mine right now started at 7 figures, basically all in the low 7 figures. They're all in 8 figures plus now. There's one exception to that, actually. They're all in 8 figures plus now. Okay. And for those brands that are 8 figures plus and still growing, what they are doing is partly tactical excellence for sure. They're working with me. We're doing all the things I say. This is part of the reason I come back and say them all the time about sort of our meta ads method, et cetera, because I think they work. I watch them happen with my clients all the time. But the thing that's unlocking huge stair-step growth for them, right? In changing their business in ways that are going to create very large outcomes for them. The ways that they are really doing that is actually with not necessarily tactics. It's something else that tactics then serves. And that something else is product development. It is introducing new products thoughtfully or reworking old products thoughtfully in ways that are opening up for them new customers that they were not reaching before. Okay. I'm gonna give you 4 examples right now. I can't use the actual names for any of these companies, but I'm gonna give you enough information here to help you walk through it. Okay. The first is a supplement company that I've seen, okay, that recently added a product that is it's in a category that is very high TAM. It's a really popular supplement category right now, but without, in my view, a clear leader in the category. Even though it's extremely popular, the category is popular. Maybe there's a leader, I don't know, but they've done that. And they released what I think is probably the most thoughtfully formulated supplement in that space that I'm aware of. All right. And when they did that, when they brought years and years of thoughtfulness around supplement formulation, these guys are really smart. They really know what they're doing. Okay. They brought that into into a space that had really high interest right now. And I think for good reason. Okay. When they combined those two things, their expertise with that knowledge, then they released a product that immediately, and I mean immediately, like within a week, okay, at least doubled their ad spend. At least doubled their ad spend. And the potential outcome for them of doubling their ad spend like that is like tens of millions of dollars in valuation down the road. It is a huge, huge number. They may have actually tripled their ad spend. We're so early on what ads are going for that product because it's so new that who knows how far we can push this by getting the ads right there. It is really crazy. And so that opened up something really big. And it was that combination of expert formulation, doing something that was truly new and creative in the space, mixed with consumer side demand, all of it in a way that fit within their brand, fit with everything they were doing, released excellently, of course, like, released to their super customers first. So they were tapping into their loyalty that already existed. They seeded it out to a bunch of affiliates and sort of influencer types who were already interested. They responded really enthusiastically. They got results right away. If you try to do this while just releasing crap into the world, right? Because it's a financial strategy, it's not going to work. Like, there's real care for the customer involved here. The operator looked at what was happening in the space, looked at what people were trying to accomplish with this kind of supplementation, and released something that was truly beneficial in a way that was unique. And in doing so, there has been an immediate and positive response. And now it's like where all of our efforts are going. If you're running meta ads at all, the tool I use to track my meta ads purchase data on my website is BILY, BILY.ai. Go to BILY.ai to get the absolute best in tracking, meta ads tracking that I know of anywhere. They're also introducing some really cool new stuff where they're starting to be able to label AI bots, like use AI to recognize when AI bots are crawling your site and not send that information back to Meta to go find more traffic like that. Really, really cool stuff coming down the pipe from BILY, the most advanced ad tracking software, pixel tracking software, or pixel software in existence. You can also use BILY as a one-stop shop replacement for Google Tag Manager, which is really awesome. So if you're running ads on Google, if you're running ads on X, Snap, TikTok, anywhere, you can track all of it with BILY, and they even have a cross-channel attribution platform built into it for free, just as part of the offer. You don't have to spend extra money to go get access to their attribution software if that's something that would help you as well. So go to BILY.ai, BILY.ai. I use it with my clients. I love it. Go check it out for yourself today. Okay, so that's number one. Number two. This is a little harder of a category, and I have to be vague about this again, but a design-focused company that so the product really leverages design, okay? And they overhauled their design and the materials in their product completely. When they did that, okay, they were able to charge twice as much for the product at the same margin and make a product that people like more at the same time, okay? So essentially a design overhaul, which was a years-long process for them, all aesthetic. So they didn't change the core value proposition of the product at all, but taking a product, seeing the way people were responding to it, and overhauling it. Now, again, what I want you to hear in this is real care for the customer's experience from this operator. The operator is watching what people were saying about the product. And they're like, we really like the idea of this product. We really like what it symbolizes. We really like all these things, but it's just not designed that beautifully. It's not designed that well. And so there's this problem with it. And so they went back to the drawing board and thought, how can I take this thing? It's sort of a novel product in its space, but taps into something real and deep and meaningful and emotional for customers. Okay. And how do I take that and now overhaul it in a way that provides more value for the customer? Because if you double your price, you have to probably, and maintain your margin profile, you probably have to add a lot more value, at least double the value to the customer, right? You can't, for most brands, I mean, maybe they could be testing this or whatever, but you probably can't just like double the price of your product and expect to get the same value from customers. There's rare exceptions to this, but like you probably actually do have to provide more value. And that's what this represents. The operator went and provided a bunch more value to the customer. They looked at how the customer was interacting with the product, and they made products that resonated more deeply, more emotionally, tapped into everything that this product was for. And they did that in a way that produced a ton more value to the customer, and then in turn, a ton more value back to the business. And when they're looking forward now for where they go next, they're doing the same. By the way, to come back to the supplement example earlier, this immediately triggered something for us as a team. And I went back to the operator and said, well, what about this category over here? Here's another really popular supplement category. Could you take that same thing and start formulating and think about, is there some way we could really meaningfully improve to create the best version of this product ever, and tap into that marketplace as well, And we're doing that same conversation with this design-focused company that I was talking about. The design-focused company, for them, right, they were looking and we're saying like, okay, how do we unlock the next stage of growth? Well, we're going to do all the usual stuff. We're going to do all the manual bidding on Meta. We're going to keep working on our creative. I think there's some real room for our creative improvement in that brand in particular. We're going to do all this stuff. Okay, great. What's really going to unlock it though is if we can figure out ways to provide even more value to the customer, tap more deeply into the emotions the customer is feeling. And especially if you're a brand where people are deeply emotionally relating to your product, and there's more of those brands out there than you think, right? Like where where you're tapping into something really human and really real with people. Like my challenge to you is go deeper into that. Think about that as hard as you can. Figure out as much as possible how you can go and take your product and provide more emotional resonance to your customers so they love it and it matters to them and they value it. If you do that, they will gladly pay money for that product and it will be the place for more product development. Okay. Number 3, a food and beverage company that essentially added new flavors, new product variations, right? Doing that again, saw in this case, probably at least 100% growth. Now, this is a great example of one where the tactics really serve this well, because what we did at the same time as this company went and found sort of a great version of a high TAM flavor for their product. Okay. For that company, okay, they at the same time were building a creative machine where we could pump out high volume explainer creative that sort of went through the details of what makes this product unlike any other competitors that they have, why you should buy this instead of other ones, that really went through it well, showed it to the customer really well. And so now we were able to marry the tactics with the product development. And when that happened, when they introduced this new flavor, okay, immediately almost doubling spend again, okay, maybe more than doubling. It's a little too early. Again, this was like another one that happened like a week ago relative to when I released this. And every time we have gone and sort of opened up new flavor options that fit again with what customers were wanting and with what this company could uniquely provide in their category, it has again opened up more and more TAM, basically more and more demand. It's just raised the local maximum over and over. And so again, we have seen a serious bunch of growth at a really high margin because we've provided more value back to the customer in the space that they wanted. And when customers get this new flavor, they love it. It is delicious and it is awesome. And they're going to think it is great, like for sure. Okay. We get incredible feedback on this because they've actually found a way to do something with an ingredient profile that they can have unique access to that allows them to deliver this flavor in this category with more value than any other competitors. And they've leaned into that, pushed on it really hard, and we're continuing to build more and more marketing assets to show and tell this story better and better. Okay. 4th, an apparel company I know that added a new category. They added shoes. And when they added shoes to their apparel mix, okay, when they added shoes, what they found was that there was a huge demand in their space for shoes. And as they added shoes, it took over their ad account. It took over the product. It became their number one selling product almost overnight. And it's because they were well positioned. They had a brand that resonated with their customer really, really deeply. The brand was exactly the right kind of brand to add shoes. They have some really specific inroads to their customer and to brand affinity with their customer. It's not just like an all-purpose apparel brand. They have real position on the world and on things. They have real point of view. And therefore, their customer, when they came and released a product in a category they did not have a product for anymore, their customer was really excited to do it. And then they were also able to acquire a bunch of new customers with it. And that last point, okay, and in each of those cases, I swear, 40 to 100% growth for the business because of that. Just way bigger than what was possible just at the tactical side of things once they've maxed out tactics, okay? Now, all of these brands also did really get help by tactics. And I'm going to talk more about that in a second, okay? But again, there's just like stair-step growth by doing that in their category. And I know I've had to be a little vague in this episode. You can understand that people, clients and others, they want to hold back some of the information specifically around product. But in all those cases, I've watched it happen up close. I've watched the ad accounts. I've watched the revenue. I've seen the Shopify dashboards, all those things. It's crazy. You know, it's this huge, huge outcome. And there's a bunch of reasons why I think that this really matters. The first is this kind of thing activates your past customers extremely well. Old past customers of yours with whom you've already delivered good product are happy to get new product from you that they also will love. Once you've built up trust with them, it creates more value out of that group of customers that you've already acquired. That is a huge value add in a business because that revenue typically comes with much less ad spend associated with it. And so that's really, really good. All right. But secondly, and this is crucial, it also opens up new customer acquisition channels. And what you can do, and this is I think where the tactics really matter a lot, especially, is you can take all the good tactics that you've built up and now apply them to products in new categories, and it opens up your ability to reach customers in a whole new way. Let's say you've got something going where you've got where you've got a really good creative process and your manual bidding is dialed and you have all this stuff worked. Well, when you add a new product and all those things are ready to go, you can add a new product. Like in the supplement company example, I added that product. When we added that product in the ad account, we had 20 plus different concepts ready to go at launch, all launched in manual bids. Meta could immediately sort out which ads people were responding to. We had landing pages all set up for it so that we had exactly the landing page situation that we wanted. It was all set and built into a process where we could excellently execute the media buying and the creative process on a bunch of new products in a way that immediately allowed us to go take advantage of that opportunity. In the example of the food and beverage company that I mentioned with the new flavor, right? That company has, like I said, repeatedly done the things that we do at AJF Growth and have sort of trusted me from the beginning to do this, and even built internal capacity to go and make that happen. But and to sort of to free me to do what we do at as much scale and as little cost as possible. And that's really made it so that we could scale that ad account really fast. It sort of fueled the fire, because now when they're releasing new products at the same time, we're able to apply, again, this machine of growth to that. And so the tactical excellence meets with the product development. And now what we have when we have creative is great stories to tell. We have all this value that this brand provides to the customer, and we can turn around and explain that in an ad with excellence. And when we do that, look, customers believe it. They see it, they know, they can feel it, and they read the reviews and they see that customers are, other customers like them are having a really good experience with this product. They see other customers like them having a great experience with this product. And when they do, they then know, okay, I can have that same experience as well. And it allows the whole machine to grow all at the same time, while returning customer revenue kicks in over time and a snowball rolls down the hill and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you are uncertain about the kind of tactics I'm talking about this on this episode, and you want to know how to marry great product development like I'm talking about with the best in the current way of thinking about ad tactics, e-commerce strategy, P&L design, all those things that I talk about all the time with Meta ads, Google ads, anywhere else, you need to sign up for Admission. Admission is the single best spot I know of for you to come to learn all the things you need to know about how to run a great e-commerce business. You get exclusive webinars with Taylor Holiday. There's also an exclusive Admission webinar with other members of the Common Thread Collective team every week, but there's a monthly one with Taylor that you cannot get access to without Admission. There's just all kinds of great stuff in that program. And what I tell people all the time is that if more people would sign up for Admission and just spend the time learning from Admission and from Common Thread Collective there, like they would make their money back in saved money on blown ad spend so fast. It is an absolute no-brainer, especially if you're spending less than 50 grand a month on Meta ads. You're trying to learn how to manage your spend yourself. You absolutely should go join Admission. Go to the link in the show notes for this episode. If you click on that link, you get a free coaching call as part of that deal with Admission's team. So you actually get an audit of your ad account, basically, with a really experienced Meta ads media buyer from CTC, trained by them. It's a really great deal. Those are expensive calls in a lot of places, and you get one for free by signing up for Admission in the link there. Go to Admission, join it today, get smarter about your e-commerce brand. All of that stuff gets a lot easier. Eventually, of course, what you can also add as a business gets a lot bigger is eventually different ad distribution channels where you take the same messages and the same products and take them to wider audiences if the business is growing at that stage. Adding, retail distribution channels. Now your Amazon business can get bigger. Now your retail sell-through now your brick and mortar business has something better, because now you've got really appealing products for brands to sell or for companies to sell in those different places. You can compete in a lot of different places. And as you're spending more money on ads, you're generating more awareness of your brand in the marketplace. So when you go and launch those partnerships, they're launched with a bunch more word of mouth. You can start working on licensing deals. Now you've got a bigger amount of and collaborations. Right now, you've got more money to go spend and to think about, like, hey, we actually are moving enough units to where we become a little more appealing to licensing. So there's all these other things that get tacked onto that, but it starts from this engine of product. Now, there's another thing I want to point out about every one of the examples I just gave you, which is that all of them also have dialed in P&L strategies and margin profiles, okay, where they have been able to, over time, lock in incredibly high margins or grow margins over time. Just in order, one of them has measured, the supplement company has measured LTV and focused on subscribers really carefully because they know about the unit economic profile of their business. They're getting their supplements at a high margin. They're focused on subscribers because they know the unit economics inside and out. That's like the supplement playbook, right? So all of our tactical efforts are aimed at not only these new products and new spaces, but doing that in a way that, of course, is maximizing all of the unit economic profile and the unique advantage of a supplement business in terms of LTV. The design-focused company was able to shave a whole bunch of margin and add a bunch of cost over time. They've just chipped away and chipped away and chipped away, and they're still chipping away at that. And so they've been able to do this at a really, really, really high gross margin in the business, okay? The food and beverage company went and added 15 points of margin in the last year to their business. That's really hard to do in food and beverages, but they've efforted that really hard. In fact, what I would say is, in all of these cases, one of the things that's happened is by having tactical excellence from an agency partner they trust, they are then free to go and spend their time and money elsewhere. And this is really crucial. All of this stuff, all of this stuff is actually an argument, again, for better tactical excellence, not worse tactical excellence. It's an argument for having a better partner in your business, not a worse partner in your business. Because what happens is, you then can go and say, okay, if we have somebody that we trust, whether it's an internal resource or an external resource, what you can do, we have someone we can trust to go execute excellently on the tactics. We don't have to go fight over those things and research it and read another blog post about it and read another tweet about it and watch another video about it or all these things. We can just trust that our manual bid setup with our creative process and all those things is humming. And now we can spend, as an operator or as an executive in the business, our time somewhere else in the business doing the thing that we uniquely can do. And this is another thing operators miss. If they get too obsessed with the details of their media buying and those things, because it's not going well and because there's all these question marks about it, right? Then what will happen is their time and attention will go away from the thing they can do best. And the thing they can do best is actually work on the product and the customer, the relationship between those two things, the value they provide from product to customer. The thing is, you started your business very likely, if you're watching this and you're an operator, because you love the product, you love the customer, and you want in some way to deliver value from product to customer. That's what you want to do. All right, so if that's the case, spend your time there. Your media agency partner can't do that. They can't. Your lead media buyer can't do that. What they can do is think about how to communicate that value uniquely, right? But they can't be the person to go build the product and do that. You can do that, and you can spend your time and effort there, which is the higher impact lever on the business, while at the same time serving that, again, with the tactics that are excellent. All right, and that's where you can focus your energy. And in fact, again, those tactics multiply your efforts. Great tactics applied to great products at a high margin is a great business. That is how you run a great business. Don't choose between them. The tactics then multiply the efforts of the things you're already doing. And in fact, the tactics won't save you from other problems that are in your business. When I see brands that are struggling a lot of times, the reason they're struggling right now is not because of some creative problem. It's not because of something. It's because of margin profile. It's because they don't have enough differentiation. It's because there's just nothing that appealing about it. And it's really hard for them to break through growth ceilings because of those things. Maybe they have a high enough TAM to where a total addressable market, right, where they can sell their product to a lot of people. But it's a lot harder to win when you don't have that level of differentiation, when you aren't providing that value to the customer uniquely. And that's where I see brands struggling a lot more. Or they just go through that tactic cycle over and over and over again. They think all their problems are unlocked with the next piece of creative. They're not. Their problems are mostly unlocked by continuing to effort. Once they've already got the tactical framework that is as correct as possible, basically, okay, the next thing they're going to unlock is with product and with efforting the rest of the business. So to wrap this up, if you're stuck in your business, okay, if you're stuck right now in your business, you need to be thinking about where the true biggest levers are right now. And if you are already knowing, if you've validated that you are really meaningfully providing value to your customers, your next step is to think about, how do I provide more value to my customers? Is that about opening up new categories that fit my brand? Is it about new products, new variations of my current product within the same category, something like that. Like there's all kinds of things to think about. It's going to be different for every brand, but that's the place where you can be putting your effort. That's where all of the money is. That's where all of the unlock is. I have so many great episodes coming up soon. You are going to want to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening because you do not want to miss them. My next one, actually coming on to talk to me in like 10 minutes here, is Jess Bachman from Fireteam. Jess and I are working on an account together, and his ads are smashing, like consistently delivering real spend at or above target at just an incredibly high hit rate. So I'm just going to ask him, how come your ads win so much? Tell me what you do and how others can learn from you. It's going to be a great conversation. Jeremiah Prummer from No Commerce is coming soon. Just a gift to our industry, all kinds of data that he's got that nobody else does. Aaron Orndorff's always a great conversation. I've got Olivia Corey from House Analytics talking incrementality, really hot topic right now that Olivia has great perspective on. And Shireen Albert coming back soon. That's just going to be a giggle fest. Every time I talk to Shireen, we just laugh a whole bunch and talk about really, really helpful stuff because she is a genius marketer who's going to be so helpful to you. So don't miss any of those. And don't forget to follow up on this episode with my sponsors. They're great. Admission. If you want the tactical excellence that I was talking about in this show, start with Admission from Common Thread Collective. It is the best place to go that I know of to get deep into how to run an e-commerce business effectively and efficiently. Go to the link in the show notes for this episode, wherever you're watching or listening, because that link will get you a free coaching call, as I said, and BILY.ai for the best tracking software that I know of. And it's what I use for my clients to track their ads and make sure that we're getting great event match quality scores in meta ads, as well as track other ads and other platforms. You can email me, podcast@ajfgrowth.com. Go to ajfgrowth.com for everything that I'm doing. And of course, reach out to me on X @AndrewJFerris. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you next time.